Well, aloha and cheers. This is Tiger Singleton, aka Tig Monkey, broadcasting from somewhere in Portugal. Clearly, I'm by the ocean, the edge of the world, getting ready for the 3-day retreat here and then the 9-day retreat in Italy. To learn more about that, send me a message and I'll fill you in. But anyway, I've been pondering this play of resonance in my own experience and understanding it more clearly, how it relates to what I'm feeling, how it relates to the mind, and how it's unfolding in my world. And so I wanted to share a couple things. So the way that I look at resonance is deep sincerity from a heart space, which is feeling into yourself and asking what is true. This is very, very different than what do I think. It's very different from what do I want. It's not a movement of mental acrobatics. It's not trying to figure something out. It's a very sincere feeling into. Because what we find is the truth that's contained in our heart is a present moment play of existence, and the movement in the mind is a play in the illusion of time, where we take the conditioned ideas, beliefs, and thoughts of yesterday and then project those limitations into the future. It's like we think what was possible yesterday is what's possible tomorrow, so in this moment we try and manage our lives according to that limitation, which leaves zero room for miracles to bloom. And in our own experiences, the miracles that we have seen arise have exceeded the expectation or the limitation that we thought was possible. And so if we're going to live in this way where we allow life to bloom with miracles, which, to clarify it, maybe we can just say this is where life shows a reflection of our heart's deepest sincerity, where life begins to match the direction of our heart. Now it's you got to be careful here, because what the mind does is attempts to interpret the heart with words and images and symbols, and we get confused believing that these images are what's true rather than a pointer. For example, like say there's this deep resonance in you to write something, to express yourself. The mind creates an image of that and says, oh, okay, well, I'll do this and then it will look like this in the future. And then we get attached to that image and say, okay, well, if this is working, then it means I'm going to get this or get that. And then it creates a lot of stress along the journey, because as you're moving in that direction, you start to notice things that aren't matching that image. And so you start disregarding little signals and signs because you say, oh, this doesn't look like what I want. But in truth, what's happening is the resonance in your heart that's desiring to express itself. Life is exposing the self-imposed limitations that are blocking that. And so as you're moving forward in your heart's direction, you will encounter what we might say is resistance, but really these are things emerging to show you how you are limiting yourself. And so when we follow our heart's resonance, it doesn't mean that everything just goes smoothly and all of these things. It can actually be quite challenging, because you're forced to look at the ways in which you see yourself and others that is not reflective of their inherent divinity. And so following the resonance in our lives doesn't mean we are looking for an easy life. It means we're looking for a sincere life. And part of that sincerity in this experience is coming up against things that challenge what we believe. They challenge the assumptions that we're holding, and they challenge the limited view that we have, which is absolutely perfect, man. And this is the quote-unquote spiritual path, in the way that it is a heart path. It's a sincerity path. It's being radically honest with yourself path, and getting in touch with a movement within yourself that is beyond the mind's attempt to manage oneself. Not to say that doesn't have a play, but it's an afterthought, if you will. It's the mind comes in afterwards to help you navigate. In a way, it's like you're saying, oh my God, my heart is deeply resonating to go here or to go there. And then what happens is the mind is a tool that helps you function in following that flow, but the mind doesn't know the truth of that function. And so say you're going to the grocery store, the mind can help you navigate there, but the mind isn't going to be a solution. The mind isn't going to be the answer. And even as we're following the sincerity of our heart on the journey or the path, the prize is not the destination. And this is another confusion, because destination, again, is another image in the mind projected. And images projected are never the reality, because images are stationary and life is constantly changing, constantly blooming, constantly transforming. And so the invitation is to hold loosely the projected image and let it be a pointer rather than the answer, because the value and the benefit of the path is not getting somewhere, it's allowing your heart to bloom in the process. And so this is the real reward. It's not that you get something, it's that you discover a freedom within yourself to be authentic, to be sincere, to really move in a way that feels true for you. Even if what feels true for you today doesn't feel true for you tomorrow, it's irrelevant, because we're talking about present moment sincerity. Your sincerity won't take on the same image constantly. It'll constantly be changing and transforming, which is pointing you here and pointing you there. It's a great guidance system. But again, the image it created is not the answer. And so the value in the path is one that opens you up continuously, not arriving at a destination. I feel like that's all I got to say. But yeah, so from a practical standpoint, if we look at our experience and we notice the heaviness or the burden or the restriction, in all cases, this is some form of a self-dishonesty. It's an unacknowledged aspect of ourself that isn't allowed to breathe. And we push those things away because we think that they are in the way. But if they are arising, then they are the way. If they are showing themselves, then it's pointing. And so the more that we push these things away and think that they are blocking us, the more power we give to them, which is to confirm that they are a block. And if they're there, even if you suppress them, they're still there. And so you energize a block that you are running away from. It's like fear. If you run away from fear, you're acknowledging that the fear has power over you. And so you don't get away from it. It chases you like a big bad monster, trying to scare the shit out of you. But if you turn and face that fear and look at it sincerely deep in its eyes, you will see a part of yourself that's been ignored. And the ignoring of that only makes it stronger, because it's there to help you, it's there to assist you. And so the fear is a great indicator of where life is inviting your attention to go, to look at really what scares you, because what really scares you is opening up. What really scares you is this level of transparency, of fully acknowledging that you are human, you are here, that you are with a power that you don't understand, with an acknowledgement of the unknown. And so this is like, the basis of the movement of fear. And so the more that we look at these things, we start to discover that, oh my goodness, there's such an opportunity in this, because it's pointing to the limitation. It's pointing to the ways that I'm not allowing myself to be honest. It's pointing to the ways that I'm not allowing myself to open up and let life flow through me. So cheers to your fear. And let's celebrate this rawness of being a human being, because the point is not to get it perfect. The point is to not get your ducks in a row. The point is to be sincere within yourself, and then watch the miracle bloom and watch your life take on this new growth, which will be automatic, by the way. It's not something that you do. It's something that you observe. You watch the blooming happen. The mind thinks it has to do something to make it happen, but really, what's being asked is to relax into what's already happening. And the truth is happening. What's sincere is already happening. What is here is already happening. So when you tap into that, you start to see that life has this beautiful organization to it, this divine chaos that is allowing everything to expand, allowing everything to grow. And so stepping into that, which is acknowledging your deepest resonance and seeing that that's what's true. Yeah, I can notice all the bullshit in the mind. Yeah, I can notice all the running, all the avoiding, and all of this. And that's all fine. It's part of the play. If you're moving in a way that seems unspiritual or any of these things, I invite you to allow it so that you can see it. If you're judging yourself about it, if you're turning away from it, then you're not going to be able to see it. So fully allow yourself to be a fucking human being and let the miracle bloom. Other than that, still doing the weekly live sat songs on the Patreon account for those that are donating the extraordinary amount of 16 cents per day, or about $1 a week. You get to tap into live sat song broadcasts where I answer questions and talk about awesome content that helps us practically engage insight and wisdom rather than it just being a concept, but allowing it to move from the head into the heart so that life might move through us and this whole thing can be a magical dance, a beautiful romance. Love you, appreciate you, thank you for being exactly as you are. Hello.